I'm gonna try this again. My camera keeps shutting off because it gets hot. So I'm holding it over top of this, or by this tank, 317 degrees basically, of a wax paraffin mix to dip, I don't know if you can see that very well, beehive boxes in. I've been dipping those tonight instead of painting them. So I just want to take a little video so people can see what it's like. So I'm putting this box in here. I've actually got my gloves on for once. And as you can see, it immediately starts to boil as it heats that wood up and forces the moisture out of the wood. I've got 20 inches of wax in here, so about 40 gallons, which is about, I think it's about 400 pounds, 350 pounds of a wax rosin mix. So I'll put that in there. I'll let it sit now for about 15 minutes, 12 minutes or so, and then it will continue to boil that moisture out of the wood, which will then get replaced with the wax as I take it out and cool, which I'll show you. But so here's what I'm using. You have this paraffin, comes in about 10-pound blocks like that, and this is the rosin right here. I can get my glove off, sorry. It's the rosin. Comes in these big chunks. This, which it comes from trees. They get it from trees, of course, sap. And they take the sap, mix it with an acetone, take off the turpentine or something like that, and then they evaporate the acetone off, and you get those hard chunks, which will melt when they get to about 150, 160 degrees. They'll melt. The wax will melt about 140, 145. That'll melt, and then it gives you this, which that's been in there now for about 5 minutes. Foam's come up a little bit, not as much as it has been. It's been coming up really high tonight, and I think it's just because the humidity is so high, the moisture, the content of the wood's really high. So here's some of the mix after I had too much in there, because it was boiling out because there's so much moisture in the wood that it was boiling over. So I took some out, dumped it in a bucket, and let it harden, and that's what it was left. So here we are just a couple seconds later. As you can see, it's about ready to boil over. It's really close. Just because the moisture that's in that wood, there's so much moisture. It's really humid outside. Dense fog, I can barely see across the street. So it's really causing a lot of problems for me tonight to doing this. I usually be able to do 3 in there at a time, but I'm only being able to do 2 because of that. It just boils over. As you can see, it's going to start boiling over on me. Which when it does, I usually have to lift this lid and pull a box out for a second, which I then have to add time. I have to cook it longer because now it's not cooking, and I hate it. It takes longer. I've been doing this. It's currently 1:30 in the morning on, that's Valentine's Day. It's been Valentine's now for an hour and a half, and I'm out here slaving away trying to get these boxes dipped so I don't have to paint them, because it lasts so much longer. I was talking to a guy that did it, that got boxes from his grandpa 75 years ago that were dipped, and he's never had to do anything with them. They dipped them the first time when they first put the boxes into service for the bees, and they've never done anything since with them, and they still look really good. They have this really cool weathered look to them, but they look really cool. And they've never had to do anything, so it's a lot cheaper. It's a one-time thing, basically. You can do it again if you want to, for kicks and giggles, I guess, but usually you don't have to. One time. As you can see, it's still some steam coming out of there. A little bit of smoke too. It's a little smoky, but it's mostly steam. So about another 5 minutes and I'll be able to pull them out. When they start getting to a point, they'll get to a point where you can see now the foam's receding just because the moisture is getting lower in the wood, and so there's not as much moisture in there to boil and create that foam, which I hate. I hate that foam because it makes a mess. My garage floor will be forever waterproof. I'll never have to epoxy it because it's waxed. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. I'm gonna pull these out now, let them cool off. If I can get it out here with one hand. I like my little rack. I made that basically to push them down in the wax in the tank, but it works great for holding my boxes while the wax sets up and drains off. I love it. But as you can see, it's still kind of boiling out of there. It'll actually suck that right in there. Now, they can be painted, but they have to be painted like basically right now. If I was going to paint these, right now would be when I would paint them. Just because the wax won't let the paint soak into the wood. But if I painted them now, it would suck that paint into the wood and it would last forever. That paint wouldn't peel off like it normally does when you paint. Lighting kind of sucks. But yeah, so normally when you paint exterior paint, it will flake off outside eventually, as most people know. But it wouldn't necessarily with this because of that. It's so hot. That box right now is going to be close to 300 degrees, probably 220 degrees is what that box is right now. So it's hot. And it'll continue to cool down. As you can see, the wax, what wax didn't drain off, got sucked into that wood. It's too hot. Love. Garage is a disaster, I know. So anyway, this is my dog. And then it's all done. Ready to put bees in it. It's still got a little bit those corners, but it'll all get sucked in there. As you can see, it basically looks the same. Not really much different. A little darker. It almost looks like it's got a little tint to it, which is probably hard to see. But almost like it's been stained, oiled with like a tung oil or something. But all done. That box will last a long time without needing any more maintenance to it. And then my wax will heat up again for a minute or two, and I'll throw a couple more boxes in it.